Welcome back to the channel Light Education The Way to Your Success. As we have announced that we are doing a series of videos in zoology, especially in the paper Animal Biotechnology. This is the second series of the second video of the series, and this video is all about stem cell. A very brief introduction is given, and it would be useful for you if to use it as a framework or structure your answer in your examinations, especially when it is given for an 8-mark essay or such essay type answers, as you wish. Okay. So this is a very brief introduction, and I'm also going to show some of the images that I have collected from internet, especially the real ones, for under the microscope ones, to give you a little introduction to the world of microscopy and how actually would you experience it when you look it in for real. Because practical knowledge is very important in the subject of biology. If you are, especially if you want to pursue higher education or post graduation, or if you wanted to work in the laboratories, or even if you want to become a lecturer or a teacher, you should be able to know how a slide looks like for a stem cell. Okay. So, before entering into the topic, I would also like to discuss what is the need of this animal biotechnology. First of all, as we all know, zoology is the subject that studies with the animals, their life cycle, and everything about animals. So, and it has various interdisciplines, right? That come under the pure sciences as well as the applied sciences categories. So the pure sciences, you can tell it as like the taxonomy, that is the classification of these animals, all considered in the pure part. Whereas in this applied branches, you would study various uh, techniques and technologies regarding the latest technologies that we are using in this subject of zoology in the laboratories and at the cutting edge research that is taking place in various laboratories. So in this paper Animal Biotechnology, you will study how biotechnology is used for the welfare of human being, and as well as how we are exploiting this subject for commercial needs as well as health purposes as well as various fields that can do good to our human being, human mankind. So that is all about animal biotechnology, paper 5 for BSc third year semester. Okay. So the today's topic is the stem cells. Okay. So what are these stem cells? Actually, in our animals especially, and especially in highly evolved animals like us human beings, we have many different types of cells that make up the tissues, and these tissues make up different organs. These organs all together work in a coordination and form an organ system, right? So we can say that these cells are the structural and functional unit of our body. Now, there are different kinds of cells. When we go to that depth of the organism, we also study in depth about those cells. The normal cells that we do find inside our organs and all such, only few of them have a retain to divide and grow. And it is the cell division is also limited up to an age, right? And the best example that we can give this power give to this power limitation power is our height, right? Up to a certain extent we grow, like up to the age of 20 or 21 for boys and 18 or such ages for girls, we keep on growing, right? But after a certain age, like the 20s, the early 20s, a person doesn't grow anymore, right? The same way. That means that the cells are have already lost or have already reached that stable position where they will not grow anymore. They might get increased in number, but they don't grow anymore in perspectives, or right, in such perspectives. But there are some cells that are seen in early embryonic stages mostly, as well as in few parts of adult human body, that have this capacity of growing several number of times all through the lifespan. And also they have the potency, they don't lose the potency. For example, some of the cells, we know that cells exhibit division of labor, and in this, once they reach that specific goal they are destined to, they cannot adjust or they cannot function any other organs. For example, a cell was destined to be a neuron and it has changed into a neuron. It got developed into a neuron. Now the neuron functions in the nervous system, right? So it brings all about that coordination and all that stuff. But it doesn't do the like the job of an excretory system, that is nephron, right? So these cells are highly distinguished and highly specific about their functioning. But in the early embryonic stages, there are some cells that they can, if you even collect a single cell from that stage, you can give rise to an entire organism. They have a great capacity to generate anything from the scratch, right? So, such the cells that these magical cells that we are talking about are all the stem cells. Okay, so let's get into the topic. Stem cells are the undifferentiated biological cells that can differentiate into specialized cell or can divide to produce more number of stem cells which are present in multicellular organisms only. So, as the definition says, they are undifferentiated biological cells. So, this undifferentiated word means that they can give rise to any kind of organism. So, they are not destined like you should be giving rise to liver or such. Their descendants, that is the next generation of this cell, will be destined, might be destined, but usually these cells, there are some exceptions, especially only like zygomorphic that we will be dealing. So these cells are undifferentiated biological cells, that is they can give rise to any kind of things, and there are some partially undifferentiated cells. Don't worry, I'll explain it to you in depth later, but for now remember that these cells are undifferentiated. I hope you have understood what I am meant to say when I say undifferentiated, that can differentiate into specialized cells. See, here comes this one. Or can divide to produce more number of stem cells. Here the step occurs. So when this stem cell can divide, and it might become like it the next generation. For example, there is one stem cell, it has divided into two, and now the two cells, the daughter cells that were obtained from this division, can either give rise to the next generation of stem cells or can become the specialized cell. If they become a specialized cell, they will ultimately yield a product like those organ neuro, like those organ cells or tissues or something like that. Okay, but if they divide into the stem cells and these two daughter cells remain to be the stem cells without differentiating, then they can again give rise to the next generation of stem cells. Okay, which are present in multicellular organisms only. So these are found only in multicellular organisms. Okay, so they have unique properties like self-renewal and potency nature that are not usually seen in normal cells. These normal cells, in terms, we can say that the cells that are usually present in most of the parts of our body. For example, the RBCs or the normal ones that are present in our body. So these all the cells lose the capacity to divide or self-renewal and being potent to give rise to some other new products, right? So they can grow in size and they can divide in some cases, rare cases, they can divide, but they cannot give rise to the new and those young uh, ones like the stem cell does. There are various sources in an animal body that can produce stem cells like the bone marrow, blood, and adipose tissue. Okay, so the stem cells were first discovered by Ernest McCulloch and James Still in 1960s. And you might be wondering, like, who have which kind of stem cells did they discover? These two scientists have actually discovered the hemopoietic stem cells, and it should be in University of Chicago, I guess. So just write the names of the scientists and the year which they have discovered, and they have discovered hemopoietic stem cells. Okay. So as I have told you, the stem cells, and this is a brief view of how stem cells look under the microscope. So these are usually, some of them are like under the electron microscope, and some are used using some are visible using this fluorescent technology, like, fluorescent dyes. These are the nucleated ones and all such. So as we this it should be very important for a student of biology to know about the microscopy and the world, because in future, if you're going to be a scientist or a lecturer, you should be able to tell your students. Okay. The next, classification of stem cells. Now, the stem cells, we have discussed all about it. So the stem cells are not of one kind. There are different kinds. Some stem cells are very powerful, that they can give an single cell can give rise to an entire organism, and there are some type of stem cells that can give rise to only certain, their potency rate is restricted to a certain family. Okay, I will tell you in depth and in clear in the coming, in this coming moments. The stem cells are classified based on their potency and source they are available from. Okay, so there are, in this classification of the stem cells, we classify them based on the two aspects. The first one would be their potency, that is, how potent are they. And the second one is the source from which they are available. Okay, based on the potency of the cells, there are four different kinds of stem cells: totipotent, pluripotent, multipotent, and unipotent cells. Based on the source of origin, stem cells are classified into two types. The first one is embryonic stem cells, and the second one is adult stem cells. This is a brief description of the stem cells. Next, types of stem cells based on potency. First one is totipotent cells. Stem cells that have ability to differentiate into all or any type of cells required in the body are called as totipotent cells. So these were those super powerful stem cells that I was talking about, that even a single cell, when taken out, can give rise to an entire, into any type of cell, any type of organs or any type of cells. For example, if you take a single cell out of it, you can differentiate. It can differentiate into HSC, that is hemopoietic stem cells, or it can give rise to some the cells that can ultimately end up being a brain or the liver or different organs or a skin, whatever. It can give rise to any kind of organ, or or they can also divide into number of times and give rise to a certain, if you're only certain specific organ. So they have a capacity to give rise and differentiate into any kind of cell, or only of a certain type with a numerous number. Okay, example is zygote and early morula. Okay, so they have a capacity of differentiating into embryonic and extraembryonic cell that can give rise to the entire body or organs needed. So as we all know, there are three germinal layers: mesoderm, ectoderm, endoderm. These cells can give rise to all the three, and even the extraembryonic cells. Okay, so in addition to it, they can also give rise to this extraembryonic cells and can differentiate into any of the organs required or the entire body. Usually, if the zygote is present inside the in vivo in condition, then it will give rise to in entire body. And in vitro, you can either let it to be developed into an organ, or you can control the stem cell and you can make it to give rise your specific required type of cells or organ, right? Okay, so I think this, this all these IVF, in vitro fertilization centers, what they do is they collect the sperm and the ova, and they develop these. They make it fertilized, and they develop up to this stage. Okay, they freeze them actually. They actually freeze them and put it in the liquid nitrogen, but at the same time, they also allow, and they do it mechanically. The step of fertilization is usually done by using an instrument. It is that is a microscopic needle. The surgeon, what he does is he collects those those gametes, and he makes sure that the nuclei are fused. He lets those cells to get fused, and he lets them to divide up to the stage of some eight cell stage or 16 cell stage. And then what they does is they implant this fertilized embryo in sorry this in this in mean they implant this 16 cell stage into the uterus of the mother. So such cells, those cells like that 4-celled, 8-celled, 16, they have a very high capacity, and even a single cell, even if you take it out up to a certain time, they can give rise to an entire organism, right? That is so magical, right? Next. So this is the microscopic view of zygote, the best example for the totipotent one. This shows, the first picture actually shows the fusion of those nuclei, okay, and the formation of the zygote. This nucleus are getting fused, but this is how it looks like under in a microscope, the zygote. Okay. Pluripotent cells. Pluripotent cells are the cells that are capable of differentiating into primary germ cell layers of the embryo, but not the extraembryonic tissues such as placenta. Example is embryonic stem cells. Okay, so the definition is itself very simple. So these cells are they are capable of giving rise of anything, but they're restricted into, like, they can differentiate only into the primary germ cell layers of the embryo, like the ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. That's it. They cannot give any other extra material or any other extra tissues except for these three that can raise other than these three layers. Such as, and one good example is placenta. As usually we all know that placenta is partly formed by the mother's womb, and it is partly formed both by this implanted ovary as well as the uterus tissue. So it requires both the sides, either of the implanted embryo as well as the uterus tissue of the mother. So pluripotent cells cannot give rise to such tissues. The best example for this is embryonic stem cells. Embryonic stem cells that are derived from the three primary germ layers are good examples of this pluripotent cells. Okay, and this is the human embryonic cells, and this is a 3D imaging technique. And the next one is the real one, the mouse embryonic cells, and this is the human embryonic cells in real under the electron microscope. Okay. So get an idea. So look how wonderful these are. The next is the multipotent cells. These cells can differentiate into a number of cells, but only closely related family of cells. So this cell, multipotent, can give rise to a number of products, but that products are restricted to a certain family only. The best example is hemopoietic stem cells. Hemopoietic stem cells are the stem cells that give rise to other blood cells that are matured by the process of hematopoiesis, which occur in the bone marrow. On an average, person produces around 500 million blood cells per day. Okay, so these stem cells can give rise to only certain family related cells. The best example, as it is said here, hemopoietic stem cells. So one hemopoietic stem cells can give rise to any kind of cell in the body, but that belongs to uh, that floats in the blood. For example, macrophages, leukocytes, or red blood cells, or any kind of other different cells. Okay, but they cannot give rise to any, this liver or that brain or the eyes. All those tissues cannot be derived from a hemopoietic stem cell. What a hemopoietic stem cell can give you is that RBC, WBC, thrombocytes, all such. Okay, so this is the chart, and these are some of those pictures of the cells under one. As you can see a like a WBC and also some different kinds of cells under this. The two are, so the hemopoietic stem cell, this is a 3D image. The image in the black one is a 3D image. Excuse me. And this is how a single cell can give rise to an entire family. These are just the capabilities. These are the possible results of the multipotent cell, that is the hemopoietic stem cell. So these are the different, all these different kinds of cells can be derived from that single hemopoietic stem cell. Okay, moving on to the next. The last one, unipotent cells. These cells can produce only one type of cell and they possess the property of self-renewal. Muscle stem cell, skin cells, etc. Okay, so as seen. So this is the skin cell and this is the various other kinds. The first image belongs to the electron microscope picture of skin. How actually skin cells look under an electron microscope. Okay, so that is all about the types of cells, stem cells based on their potency. And the next one is types of stem cells based on the source. Embryonic stem cells. Early embryonic stem cells are found in the inner cell mass of the blastocyst after approximately 5 days of development. Okay, so these cells are usually derived from the embryos that are aged 5 days old. They are self-replicating cells that are potentially immortal. So these are those powerful kind of cells. Why are these called as immortal? Because they divide and they can differentiate and they get differentiated, but they don't die. Okay, so these are not like your typical red blood cells that end their lifespan in 120 days. So these are just similar to that cells. For example, this example can also, sometimes they say that scientists do say this, that unicellular organisms cannot die because they differentiate, and they, like for example, a bacteria is divided into two and it gives rise to two daughter cells, right? The same way the stem cell can differentiate into two daughter cells, so there is no end. They can differentiate and at the ultimate stage they form an organ, or a single, or even an organism which functions every day. They are derived from the developing embryos before the time of implantation onto the uterus. They are pluripotent in nature. Okay? Adult stem cells. Mature stem cells are found in specific mature tissues of body tissues. So these are found in specific tissues of an adult, or like the young adults. Adult stem cells are undifferentiated totipotent or pluripotent cells or multipotent type of cells that can be found throughout the body after embryonic development. The primary role of these stem cells is to maintain and repair tissue in which they are found. So usually now a person has been injured, right? Or even, and he lost some blood. The skin was kind of scratched. I mean, the skin was teared off from that part. If you see the same person after a few days, you would find he's perfectly healthy and his skin looks good. There might be a few, if it is an in-depth an injury, there might be a few scars, but usually the skin or the tissues are covered up very neatly. Why does this happen? The reason behind them is these adult stem cells. So the primary role of these adult stem cells is to maintain the tissue, because in an organ, in they consist of various there consists of various kinds of tissues. These tissues continuously work, and they have even a certain lifetime. After this, like for example, uh, so after a few days, the tissue gets degenerated, and there is a need for some new cells to come and to replace this, right? So at such stages, you these adult stem cells differentiate and give rise to the new kind of tissues which are required. Okay, as I have given the example that the person was injured, his skin was teared off, and he was injured very severely. So after a few days, when you see him again, he has some good skin and he except those deep scars. Why did this happen again? It is all due to the adult stem cells. They multiply by cell division in order to replenish the dying cells and to regenerate the damaged tissues. Okay, so these are the reason for the prolonged survival of a human body. So in a human body, or in any organism, in any animal, cells have an some cells especially have a certain life period, out after which they become either worn out or either they become degenerated. So these adult stem cells, due to their presence in the body, the after the degeneration, or if any damage occurs to those cells, and if the tissue part is removed from that certain part, these adult stem cells come into the action. They maintain and they divide into the new cells, they repair, and again they form the functioning part of that tissue organ and do the job. Okay, and in conclusion, I would say that they will prolong the organ system without making it getting failed. Okay, so application of stem cells, the next one. So why are these stem cells useful? Why are these being extensively studied? So there were some major applications that were discovered. The first one is therapy. Stem cells are used in stem cell therapies and transplantational operations in the medical field. Example is bone marrow transplantations that are given when for the ones who have, cancers. Usually, it is done. Grafting new skin cells, and the stem cell therapy. Animal cloning. Stem cells are also used in animal cloning. For example, mice, cows, pigs, cats, rabbit, etc. are the most used animals in the animal cloning. Clinical study of diseases and actions of drugs. Drugs are being tested to cure Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, and their use of stem cells in this, for inventing the drugs against these diseases. So that is all about stem cells. I hope this is useful for you. And if you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel. And if any suggestions, you can drop them down in the comment section. Or if you have any requests about certain topic, please let me know through this comment sessions. Thank you for watching. I hope it would help you a lot. Thank you.